I got a tip on crankbait when you're fishing fast water like we have behind you for walleyes. I thought you'd enjoy learning a little bit about what crankbaits and what colors to use. First off, we've got a deep diving shad type lure, a rattle trap type lure with a deep bill on it, and a regular crankbait, fat old spot is what it is, with a big deep lip, and then another imitation shad with a very deep lip. You don't use them here in this real fast water. They'll run erratic often off to their side, or they'll dig too deep into rocks. This grandma type lure is almost available. It's got a long thin body on it and it'll almost work. But what you want to use is the medium to shallow lip, not real shallow. This one right here, or that little rebel crayfish will work well, or here's a Tom Mann little shallow diver. And what you want to stay away from are the very shallow lip crankbaits. They just don't work. Sometimes a regular rattle trap or rattle spot, or whatever you want to call it, works well, but it too can run off to the side. So what you want to do is stick with one of these three on this side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one. I've got a steel leader on it, and I find that it'll steel leader wherever you got pike helps an awful lot. So I'm going to turn around here and see what I can do on a fish. Fish on. How about that? First cast. I'll bet you folks he's a walleye. Make any bets? Oh, he's a little one. Little walleye. Caught in that. And that little crank works really well out there in that deep water. And fast water, and it's a little deeper. We'll let him go. We'll turn around and make another cast. Fish on. How about that? Every cast. That little crank rides just like that. Doesn't ever turn to the side. Goes just deep enough in this real fast water. I haven't hit any pike yet, but they're out there, and that steel leader really prevents them chopping that little crankbait off. All right, we'll make one more cast for you folks. There he is. Now that's fast fishing. Well, if I haven't proved my point at this particular point in time, remember when you select crankbaits, it's important you get one with a shallow lip and you put a steel leader on it when you're in pike country. And you don't want one that's really shallow, you want the one with just a medium shallow lip. I've got a tip for you on jigs when you go walleye fishing with jigs. This style right here that I'm going to lay down right here is a twister. It's got a twister's tail on it. That's a nasty crab. It's got that wide fulcruming head that walks over rocks, but it's used mainly for casting and for trolling. Use that. You can use it with a spinner or without in front of it, but it's a casting and trolling type jig. This also, the normal round head with the twister tail, that's also a trolling or casting and retrieving type jig. But when you get over here to the ugly bug and to the Helgramite style, they're both short-bodied. Any of them can be tipped with a worm, with a minnow, with a crawler, but this style here is used for vertically jigging, working on the bottom. So is this. And by the way, one last little thing. If you're in areas where there's a lot of pike, there's a lot of northern pike, don't be afraid to put a leader on your jig. It may retard the action by about 5%, but it will prevent a lot of hang-ups and hookups and bite-offs, particularly by northern pike. Oh, feels like a little pike. But that's what should be in here this time of the year. Where these entering creeks come in, you'll find that usually the little pike stack up in here chasing minnows in the spring, in the midsummer. But in the spring, you'd find big walleyes here. Now this is a little bitty of a pike. And that's generally what you'll catch right in a spot like this where it's real rocky and there's a we put him back and let him go up for another day. But in the spring, this would be a great spot for walleyes. There might be a few. We got 10 feet below this little entering creek here. I tell you what, here we are. We've got pike in here, but we don't, a little pike, but we don't have any walleyes. But late in the evening sometimes, ooh, he's active. Late in the evening, you'll find walleyes could come up in against the stream when the minnows come in here late in the evening. These pike will stay in here all the time. So remember, in the spring you fish this spot for walleyes. Use jigs and minnows, probably be the best. Midsummer you'll find the pike like we are. It's high noon, we're catching pike in here. But later on this evening, just before dark, they'll come in where an entering stream like this is into a main river system. The walleyes come up in here and work. I'll let this fella go. I got something that'll really surprise you. Have you ever gone to a store and bought a leech box, paid $7, $8 for it? I got a solution for you. Here we are. We've got a $2.50 coffee cooler, and I've got something in it that'll really surprise you. Look here. I've got it full of those fellas right there. Leeches. See them? It's an ideal container to carry leeches in. It's insulated, costs $2.50, and you can't beat it when it comes to carrying it. It's compact and small. So next time you go to buy a leech bucket, think about this. This is a Coleman, I think. They make them, everybody makes them. One other thing, let me show you. Now, what you want to do is, they come out one at a time. See that? That's a leech dispenser. See? Look at that. Come out one at a time. It's not a bad container. Next time you think about carrying leeches, remember Dan Gapin's coffee mug. It works really well.